good morning, all of you. Now we are going to start. Our expert, Mr. Amit Barua, is with us. So he will talk something about the incubation centers, why it is so important, and how you can establish incubation centers in your colleges, and how you can motivate your students to have some innovation. So now over to Mr. Barua. Sir, sir, आप खड़े होकर देंगे बैठ के? मैं बैठ के दे दूँगा.
Thank you, Amit ji. Friends, my name is Amit Barua, and as you know, I have got. I will take little background first, and then I will take you to what I call it skill 3.0. And in this skill 3.0, I will try to reiterate and discuss about the importance of incubation in the skill, and how skill and incubation is a need of the hour. So let me first take you through the background on the skill and whatever we have done till date. And I'm definitely, like each one of you sitting out there, are quite aware of different skill scheme Government of India has already introduced all this while, and more so after advent of the new government and the center, where the present NDA government have taken up a different league for this particular skill. Even though if you know that, I just like to take you the background, and my perspective depends on the background of what I'm trying to discuss at this point of time. When we talk about here, if you can, so I've clearly mentioned the most of the important factors when we deal with the skill. So here we have the skill, the youth, the job, the logo, and the Kushal Bharat, Kaushal Bharat. This is an essence. We have, and my more discussion would be on whatever Kushal Bharat we have. How can we make a Kaushal Bharat? Because we are just talking about the bottom of the pyramid, and trying to take care of the bottom of the pyramid. And this bottom of the pyramid is very, very fluid as of now. But then for me, the whole pyramid is very much fluid. And so let me go through it up, keep the background first, and then why I will discuss that why whole pyramid as of now is very fluid. Let's talk about what is the need of the hour. 260 million unemployed and underemployed in the age group of 18 to 50. And this is nothing new, what I'm trying to say. And we also know that only 2% of the youth in this age group of 15 to 29 have received the formal vocational training. This fact and the figures are pretty old, but then and this is the truth and the gospel which is going prevalent as of now. More so because 70% of our population lives in the village. So keeping that thing in mind, we have not done enough in the villages. But this does not mean we cannot do enough in the villages. This is also quite evident that till year 2020, we will be having a very, very young working employment and employable youth. That's an average of 29 years, and that's a very cause and a need of the hour. That in next 3 years, what are we doing for this average 29 years old? And more so when I'm talking to all colleges, each one of you are having a typical youth who is around 18 to about 22, 23, 24 years. Because I've taken also the postgraduate. You might be having MTech, you might be having MPhils, you might be having MAs. And so the basic factor is how to cater to this particular genre for next level of employment, employability, or making them an employer out of them. Because as of now in the skill, we are talking about just employable and employability. Because everybody says that our youth which comes out of the technical institutions or the colleges are not enough employable. But then what are we doing? So let's take this particular thing. And also this leads to the social turmoils like increased crime and other unrest and extremism. That's all because of the mismatch between their aspiration and their skill set and what they're getting in hand. Because of the changing environment, and typically here I say that we are into one of the true monopolistic environment. Since we are going through a transition where we had to get into reaching the best in the world in terms of the economic growth, we need to have every single person of this age group, that 29 years plus minus 2 years, get them into a right perspective. And yes, apart from that, we are also has to take care of the another aspect that is attached to the vocational training. I give you my example. When I was growing up, and I actually wanted to become and or start my own garage. And my parents will not let me go because during my time, the automobile engineering was only in ITI. And they said, you will be doing another ITI. We don't want another mechanic in the family. Because if my whole family is into automobile and automobile repairs. So typically, previously, automobile repairs and all these things, skill sets are being done by those people who are not educated and who don't have anything else to do in life. So keeping that thing in mind, the parents have been teaching all these people right from the day one. So typically a kid goes, now also we see it, a kid goes into automobile repairs and anything at that, from the age of 15, he trolls and toils till about age of 25, and then he's been called a master or a better guy. So this was another stigma we had into the vocational training. Government have a target of 500 million till about 2020, and this 2.5 vocational training seats available, whereas 128 million youth enter the workforce every year. So there's a whole gap of good 10 million people. This 10 million people, we are not able to even trying to get them into a right perspective, because all these TPs and TCs, which has been authorized by your skill institution, NSDC, some of them are absolutely non-serious. In terms of, we also have seen previously, about a month back, that there was a huge fallout from Rajasthan and UP. And as of now, they have already stopped all the CAF, and they are not giving new TCs or new TPs being recognized. So we need to address this particular thought process too while we discuss Skill 3.0. Trade in ITIs are obsolete, and that's the reason NSDC has collaborated with 40 plus your SSCs to come out with more than 450 different trades, because ITIs have not able to take care of that. If you look into skill requirements in the organized, unorganized sectors, when we talk about the unorganized sector, the farm sector is one of the biggest unorganized sector. If you look into the farm sector skill, you will not find much of the people taking interest into it. And this particular area had got lots of overlapping between the farm sector and unorganized sector. And lots of people doesn't want to be a part and parcel of the whole system. So that is a reason that we try to encourage in this particular unorganized sector, lots of people from the stakeholders from this unorganized sector. If you look into your farm sector, all those fertilizer companies, all those chemical companies, all those seed companies are being tried to rope into, impart the skills into the people who are into this particular skill sector. Lots of farm equipments are also being introduced here to get into and take into and get in how to mechanize the farm. But my question arises, are we can actually afford to do mechanization of the farms? This is a huge big question mark which keeps on pondering on my head, because when 70% of the population are into the into the villages where the farmlands are, the hinterlands are, if we mechanize that area too fast, too early, we are again trying to push all these particular people into the urban areas. Rather than pushing and getting the farm, we must get into more better way of farming, bit of the mechanization, and of course we need to have all these farm produced and everything. The processing industries need to be taken to near to the hinterlands, near to the farmlands, so that the population which is there could be catered to that particular segmentation. So this is so what is the significance here? It is basically my basically significance of taking up this particular thing is from the previous perspective. What the government was signifying at this point of time is to examine effective suggestion as well discussion about the skill and jobs for the young India, and to bring awareness through discussion about skill India. We have been doing it for last couple of years, and let me take through the whole process of this particular discussion. That this also empowers all the stakeholders to freely connect with each other. When we talk about this particular concept, it is that I'm just talking as of, because I need to pick up one example, and that's the reason I picked up the farm sector. And in the farm sector, how the mechanization, the seed, the food processing, if we move around everything into that particular area, I think that will be far, far better off, which we have not done able to do it as of now. Small little example, if the government have been successful in empowering the state freely to connect each other, and farm sector is which really feeds the population of our country. And if you look into that, the latest is your tomato, your demonization, where we are buying a tomato for 100 rupees, and about a month back it was being sold for 1 rupee. So do we understand that now we have to be very, very focused in terms of what sector we need to push forward? There's another sector which is a very, very far different from what I have been talking. That is aviation sector. There's not a single QPs available for an aviation sector. When I say single QPs available, get into the aviation sector skills council, you find only 10 of them. Why 10 of them? Are we incompetent? We are not incompetent, but we are too slow to move into that area because of the basic cartelization of ITA. We are just not trying to break into the what ITA have already formulated. Why can't we simply take whatever been given by ITA and just get into our system and break the ITA barrier? So basically, when we talk about farm sector, there is no free connectivity. When we talk about aviation, which is a very high rank and specialized area, there is no free connectivity. So there is absolutely this particular concept. The first concept has actually not materialized as it should have been, because it is not even catering to the ecosystem to cater to skilling needs of citizens by publishing and sharing relevant information. There is no relevant information. Then the second, what it was based on, that is inclusive growth, especially to those at the bottom of the pyramid, approximately 800 million citizens. Yes, farm sector can take care of it, but what about the aviation sector? Don't we require the people from the absolutely bottom of the pyramid to be a part and parcel of it? All these people who are into ground handling stuff, Do you think that these people are all graduates? They are not. But we don't have a specialized schools to train them into the ground handling stuff. And this is one of those areas which again is a disconnect. And if you look into the Skill India Portal initiative, we are talking about MOOC, massive online learning, your concept. How many MOOC courses are actually available in the skill? This is my question to everybody. There are about 17, 18 organizations which is now with us. We don't have much of a MOOC courses into the skill area either. Somebody need to answer me that, right? We have got MOOC courses which is into our regularized your content. MOOC courses from the IITs is available for the BTech students. It is available for the management students. It is available for BBA students, BCom students. Is that the MOOC is for those who come to the school or the colleges or to the classroom? MOOC is not for them. MOOC is for everybody who wants to get into the mainline, which is absolutely missing at this point of time. So see why I'm talking to today with you all people, think about it, because the thinking need to be put into the concepts now. All these things what the government have been doing, skill in this thing initiative. I wanted to come this on a different platform about the two initiative, your IIE and your NISBIRD. I don't think so. These two organizations are also doing wonderfully well into their what they need to deliver. There is a huge gap into what government says and what government is doing and what is getting delivered at the grassroots level. So the whole thought process for at least people whom I'm talking, come out to a particular forum and start discussing that this skill 3.0 need to cater to whom. We also talk about that 65 of the youth is in your working age. What sort of ecosystem we have created? I think GST is one ecosystem which is actually created, which if is handled properly, can actually give lots of your employment generation. Because looking at it, like 3 reports which need to be filed every month, looking at the unorganized sector, I think that could be a huge employment generation for the youth. But then how many your QPs have been developed around GST? I don't see any of them. There are organizations like Tele, which is coming on GST. They are also unorganized sector which talk about GST. But they talk about only GST as a concept. How it need to be implemented in accounts, we don't know about that. Government knew about it. Skills, this thing, your skill sectors knew about, your BFSI knew about it. But nothing had been done in order to get some relief to this unemployed youth. And like in our organization, we started you're giving them exposure from class 11th onwards. We are, and that is because I think that if the students who gets flunked in class 12th and he has taken commerce, 1 year rather than waiting, he can actually work it out with some of the local traders and do the GST filing. So at least these are very small initiatives, but we should actually look into this particular thought process that we need to skill them at the right age. We talk about skills, and these are all skills of when the Skill India talks about, we are talking about dropouts. What about the people who are already into the school, already into your structured education system? If you look into CBSE has not even pushed enough for all those vocational courses. They have not actually moved out. Why we are still running after STEM? We still run after STEM, and the world's best of the developed countries are not a STEM organization. STEM, I suppose you understand, science, technology, and mathematics. This is not. We have to look into getting into non-STEM area. Your food does not come from the STEM. Science and technology does not give you food. So we have to look into something which the national quality framework need to be redefined, rethought, regenerated. And it's a high time that when I talk about national skill, framework and QPs, typically in India, if you look into the QPs till 1 to 3 is being funded by government. Why government cannot fund to 1 to 6? 1 to 3 is over. Huh? It's been about 3 years now. It's a high time we should be getting into 1 to 6 now. What are we talking around? So that is where I like to discuss. And when we talk about the Skill India Harbor's response for ensuring common norm across all the skill development, this is something which they have actually done a betterment from your CVD, which used to get rolled out from Ministry of your Labor. So from that perspective, this is something which is better, which has come up into the skill. But then which we need to do is then what is the next level? Skill India Harvard ensures implement common norms for across skill development programs. And that's the reason the ITS have been taken into the next level. And success of nation always depends on the success of the youth. This is been the mantra we are going through. And if I discuss, and the later on discussion would be on this particular perspective only, that the skill from the skill what? The skill from that I strongly believe is entrepreneurship. And the entrepreneurship need to be developed at all the level. It cannot be done only level of a guy who's graduating out of an engineering college, or a person who's coming out of becoming a normal graduate, or he's coming out of an MBA college. Entrepreneurship need to be honed the skill on everybody who has got enough skill, who's confident enough on his product, on his services, on his and he has got a full control over his ecosystem where he operates. That's very important. Youth empowerment through skill development. This is PMYY. We have done it, and we know that we are looking at this particular skill set, and it started in 2016, will go till about 2020-21, and it will cost around 500 crores. And the basic focus is to get 5 lakh youth into entrepreneurship. Don't you think it's too less? 5 lakh students and 500 crores? 7 lakh students and 500 crores? I don't even understand this economics. 500 crores, so what is, if I actually divide this, what is the money which is actually coming for development of entrepreneurship? Are we trying to talk about, like, we are just printing the your experience certificate or an education certificate for this youth? 7 lakhs, 7 lakh students and 500 crores it's a big mismatch. Because when I talk about your 7 lakh students and 5 years, typically a student need to get into the system of a structured learning to be an entrepreneur. We don't do the structural learning. We think that the person who has done his MBA, he is a right person to be an entrepreneur. Yes, to an extent, yes, because lots of education goes into your honing the skill to learn the best way to work in that particular ecosystem. So if we are looking into making them entrepreneur, the 7 lakhs need to be taken for a longer period of internship or a mentorship. That is what is my second line of thought would be. Training is provided in 3050 institute across India, the information and mentor network, credit advocacy to build way out for the youngsters. Now the question around is this thing, that information and mentor network. What do you define by that? Information and mentor network, it is that one expert comes, say, might be all of you colleges would be doing the same thing, that we have something called a guest lecture. This guru comes, talks for 45 minutes, and you think that you will make out entrepreneurs out of it. How? This is not the way it should be done. For this particular thing, we need to come out with an ITI way of implementation. You have to have these people into your system for about 2 to 3 years, because that's how you have to check them, and you have to skill them, check them, skill them. And it is just not them, their product, because skilling is all about, or when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's all about how the model need to be matured. What product they will be selling, that need to be matured. That is entrepreneurship. Niesberg, IIE, does what? 10 days entrepreneurship, your certification, and you become an entrepreneur. Congratulations. Government is not serious about it. At least you, as a TP, a training providers, because for me, every institution is a training provider. Either you are into PMKVY or you are not. You are a training provider. Train them well, your own students, to be a future entrepreneurs, whatever stream they are in. And that is the essence which should drill down from this particular session. Because being a director of an institute, being a principal, being the HOD, each one of us has got a responsibility towards your students. Which and it should be that I could not do it, let my students do it. What you do with your own kids. Are you make it damn serious about it? You need to be serious, high time. Because the job of a teacher is of that of mentor. And if you are serious about it, I think this particular skill, sectorization, what we are trying to do now, it need to be all consolidated to all of the institutions. Each of the institutions need to be part and parcel of this particular saga. Because this saga is without every mentors who are sitting in the institutions. This will not be complete if you are not on part and parcel of it. When we talk about, we also talk about credit and advocacy to build the way out. That's a reason when I say that 500 crores is less, it's way less for 7 lakh students. And of course, the advocacy, one is sitting out here in front of you. I want at least 10 or make 100 coming out of the person who are listening to me, because we need to get into that particular system. Then we talk about, yes, and now this is where your turn comes. 2,200 institution of higher learning, colleges, university premiums, and 300 schools, 500 ITIs, and 50 entrepreneurship development centers, that include Niesberg and IIE, which is a government funded. These all need to be in part and parcel of the thought process, a bigger picture of looking into an entrepreneurship, making an entrepreneur after each individual, supporting that ecosystem, feeding that ecosystem with right opportunity. That is very important, and right support, of course. So here, when we are looking at a skill, we have not done enough into the skill sector. We have done all those QPs with all those drill down, because what you have been doing into the college, just feeding it and trying to push down every of this information through their throat. Say it's an engineering college. I was a part of an engineering college previously. I've seen them doing so. So don't do that. You need to get them into hands-on. I've traveled world over, where I've seen that the classroom is all about for discussion, not for teaching, and teaching from the books or the notes. It's all about discussion, what they have not learned or what they are not understood. But we don't do it in our country. We are doing the same thing with our teaching, and we are doing the same thing with our skill development. And that is where we think that we will not able to achieve what we are thought of. Might be we will give certificate to 7 lakh students in 5 years. And we have earmarked this 500 crores for giving certificates. But then what will you get out of this 500 crore investment? If you look into a typical interest rate, we take it average 10%. Do you think actually we can make about 10% increment year on year on this 500 crores? I have not seen a single scheme giving it up. High time we should be talking about that. That what is ROI and what is ROR? Government should be talking it. We do philanthropy, and so does the people in other country. If you look into the Australian model, TAFE was done into the same thing. And TAFE is doing wonderfully well. At least the skill sector, they are trying to mix match whatever available to them. Australian economy does far better than the Indian economy, with much less manpower into their ecosystem. So all because that government comes out with a particular thought process. This is I invest and this is what I get it. So each one of you need to be a part and parcel of it. Nisbet and this thing IIE. Again, the Nisbet and IIE are absolutely big time disappointment. IIE basically for the northeastern segment, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. But then off late they have come out with a very good courses. Last time they have come out with a course on entrepreneurship in adventure tourism. Why it is only adventure tourism in Northeast? Northern India cannot be done or cannot have adventure tourism. Why Nisbet is not taking it? Reason is this: Nisbet only takes what makes them money. It's a money-making unit. But whereas IIE is absolutely philanthropical. For every course, IIE, they don't charge more than 1,000, 1,500. But typically a Nisbet, they charge 7,000, 8,000, 2 days, 3 day course. And why they make money? Because it's absolutely an outsourced model. So I think that if those people can do it, why not you? Why not us? And from an education institute, we all can do it. So typically, if you have to have an outsourced model, you can also make it up. But then outsourced model, if I've paid money 10,000 rupees, what I'm getting out of it? I should be getting a value worth out of it. It should not be only one-time courses. If Nisbet is doing, a course should be typically taken for 6 months or 1 year, where the skill need to be checked time and again that whatever been imparted is giving you result or not. And you cannot arbitrarily give anybody and everybody these training. Even if you're doing anybody and everybody, you should see to it that at least people who are there, 70% of the people, is able to do what they have come in for. That is the training. So it's more to do with mentoring rather than simple training. So we should be getting out. See, that's a difference between, what is the difference between a teacher and a coach? So that's why we have got a life skills coach. We don't have a life skill teacher. So why life skill people are called coach? In the football field, we have coaches. We don't have teachers. So the high time we should be getting into coaching rather than teaching. And that is the responsibility of each one of you who's sitting and listening. Because unless and until you get into coaching, your students will not come out with right skill, and they will be absolutely underemployed and undervalued. Because if the student is coming and paying you 2 lakh rupees or 4 lakh rupees and getting your 10,000 rupees job, who is to blame? Not the teacher, not the students. You as a mentor is to be blamed for that. Because what's the difference? Typically, if you look into UBS, the University Business School, still the course fee is 36,000 rupees for 2 years course. It used to be till about last year. I don't know. They have increases this year. And the average package is 4.5 lakh rupees. So it's always better to get into those institutions. But then that's too difficult. So even that discrimination is very, very high. So when we talk about all these your schemes of which government have come out, or National Entrepreneurship Award, first generation achiever below 30 years, and all those the government which recently did the second anniversary for Youth India on 7th of July. Government has not come out with a very strong emphasis on to how the skill need to be emphasized, checked, evaluated in terms of performance of each of those person into the ecosystem. So even when the government this thing comes about National Apprentice Promotion Scheme on Government of India, that is basically for your engineering colleges, and I have got lots of engineering college who are listening to me, and they give us a stipend of 1,500 rupees per month per apprentice with an employer. Now the question arises here that your student who is going in with 1,500, can he survive in this particular market? His day-to-day expenses can be taken at that 1,500 rupees. Vis-a-vis, if you look into your US market or for a developed market, an apprentice gets normally $10 an hour. $10 an hour, that works out if he works for $8, because they are not supposed to work more than $20 or 20 hours a week. Can't we have those schemes here in our country? Because that's where the dignity comes in, the dignity of labor comes in. Dignity, that Wage Act need to be changed. People have changed the Factory Act. What about the Wage Act? We have not changed. So if we have to emphasis on the changing the skills, we have to change the whole ecosystem. And this ecosystem always comes with the Factory Act and the Minimum Wage Act. We need to have changes coming into it. Today, we say that only those courses people are allowed to work which is not a regular in nature, right? But if you look into the engineering colleges, there are so many students who are not even regularly coming in. They are non-attending students. Each of the students, so even our ecosystem need to be changed. Whom we are giving the training, the trainer, and the apprentice or the employers, potential employers. If you are allowing your students to be non-attending, get them into the classroom at least in the weekends. So that's skilling that need to be done from your perspective, making each of the students' perspective. PMKVY, and that is what we will be discussing now. Each one of you are the training centers and the training provider for PMKVY. Let me ask you, how many of them are ably trained and got employed? That's very, very important, because getting into the classroom and not doing enough is also not good enough. So like we know that typically PMKVY is a short-term course. Short-term course, whom are we giving it to all those people who are from the hinterlands. So these people, they have got different skill sets. So after the short-term training, what's more important is this: are you hand-holding for them for a long-term training? Government fund you till about QP3. What about your QP4, QP5, QP6? Government has, in some of the your SSCs, we have got till about QP10. Quality PEX 10. Are we getting into those quality PEX 10? Are we taking them? How are we taking them into QP PEX 10? So it is just not that. Something which has been funded by the government does not end there. Government has given you this your PMKVY training centers because you are a training institution and you come out with technical courses. But now the question arises, if you have to look into Skill 3.0, it's each one of you out there need to take it to the next level. What has been funded by the government is fine enough. You have your make it all those institutions get funded from the government, and that is still about QP3. But what about QP4? Are you taking them to QP4? Are you taking them to QP5? Or why don't you include that as a part of your training, and so that when the student comes out of your institution doing BTech or MTech, they have done till about QP8. So this is what you need to be thinking and doing. It is the basic mandate was here to talk out my heart in terms of what actually all these different training institutions need to do in terms of their responsibility towards the student, and of course the youth, or the NPART youth they are producing out of their factories. When I was in IT industry, the company was so big, or the software development was so big. People used to call it a factory. Each one of your institution is a factory. So what are you producing from your factory? That also need to be taken care of, and this is where we have to meet the skill gaps. It is just not the government responsibilities; it's our responsibility too. And of course, government gives us lots of leeway, and that is where the second point, recognition of prior learning, is also comes in. When we talk about recognition of your prior learning, we talk about how the system of what you have previously done could help you out to get into a regularized training, right? And like your school of open learning. School of open learning, at the age of 20, you can give your class 12th and get into the regular this thing. Why can't we have the same thing into our graduation system? I have if I have to be a graduate and I want to give my third year exam, right, or my BTech, I need not I just come out with XYZ your RPL. And I've done an RPL, I get evaluated, and I've been taken into that particular system. Say that particular course, and wherever I get suited, I just get fixed into it. So this is where is another area where Skill 3.0 need to address. We have been, there are lots of open schools or the open university, like Ambedkar Open University. They have got certain courses where you clear your RPL and then you directly get into their masters. So certain of these courses need to be getting into mainline and mainline your organizations of higher learning. And this is the need of the hour. And then special projects, thus more and more MOUs need to be signed from your perspective, so that wherever you are based as an institution, you need to cater to your backyards. Definitely, there are lots of institutions, they don't even cater to their backyards. When I talk on backyard, the students don't even go down to the industry, which is in vicinity of 1 to 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers. So when you're not catering to your own backyards, do you think that your students will actually will get a job in a best of the industries? So again, the skill need to be checked out into from a perspective where they need to have a good tie-up with the corporates and the industry, which is around you, so that tomorrow, when you actually able to place them well, and these students will bring in the advocacy into a better developed individuals, and they can be a good entrepreneurs. They could be a good resource for the industry. So that is also something which really helps, and that should be doing. Then Kaushal and Rozgar Melas. as an PMKV, your beneficiary, or as a PMKV rollout organization, you need to be also into that particular system of getting the right type of perspective into the whole thought processes. And this Kushal and Rozgar Mera will really help you out. We do, you might be doing lots of job fairs, but then this job fair, are you doing it for your own students or the PMKVY people? There's a possibility that you might be doing for both of them. But then, typically what is going to be the type of employment generation you are doing it, need to be also looked into, because typically when you are doing it, it is not that government says 10,000 and you only give them 10,000 job. Your delivery level comes in when government says 10,000 and you put them at a 14,000 bracket or a 12,000 bracket. So typically that's really helps the National Career Service Melas and on-ground activities. And this is also helps in their right placements. So government has already done it, and that's the reason that we had those issues which has come into the next level. So now, Maggie, I would like to talk it out something which I really wanted to do it, and that was on your that was on incubation and impact on the skill development. So when we talk about incubation and skill development, you know what incubation mean? Incubation, as a definition, I like to give you out from a different perspective. That is a process of keeping something at the right temperature under the right condition so it can develop. For example, sitting on your egg for purpose of hatching young, brooding on or keeping them warm to develop a life within by any process is one incubation. Pathology, it means the development of disease from its cause to its period of incubation. And in chemistry, a period of little reaction which is followed by more rapid reaction. So these are basically a definition of incubation. So here we talk about a very old concept from a previous organization called count your chicken before they hatch. So when we talk about count your chicken before they hatch, are we really doing it? Are we really counting it? Because we are not counting. We are not even looking into that particular perspective. We talk only about skill and skill, but what about the people who have already been skilled and are mature enough to take them to the next level? Government is just focused on bottom of the pyramid, but reality is that the whole pyramid is mythical and weak. Our higher education is full of skeleton of bygone era, which needs to be corrected. So why not start with the highest economical benefit, that is the skill. Here it should be going on 360-degree focus, where a dynamic environment should incubate new generation of entrepreneurs from the grassroots level. When I say that, I talk about all those things which I gave you cue about previously. The government have been doing enough. There is, I tell you, like government is, when the government has started this technology incubation development entrepreneurship by Department of Electronic and Information Technology. This has started about in 2000. It's basically a 3 years hand-holding they normally do it. And I will just take you through that 2017, they have extended it. If you look into the fallout of this particular scheme, that is quite amazing. The capacity built under TIDE was 27 TIDE centers and 155 startups. And out of this 155 startups, 69 has actually successfully graduated. There are 286 entrepreneurs emerged, and out of which 34 were women entrepreneurs. Oh, that's very, very encouraging. That works out to be about 15%. And out of these 286 entrepreneurs, 1511 employment have been generated. So these entrepreneurs also gave typically to your 1511 on this thing employment. So it used to be a ratio of 1:5, 300 to 1500 approximately. So this means if we have, typically when we are talking about ecosystem of 7 lakhs entrepreneurs, so just imagine 7 into 5. So we are talking about 35 lakh of employment generation. And that's at absolutely beginning of this bottom of the pyramid. So when we are talking about 20 million or 12 million people who are getting into this particular your job scenario, so we are talking about 3 million your entrepreneurs. We say that 13 million people, they come as an entrepreneurs, your people join it. So out of this 13 million, we can look at around 2 to 2.5 million as an entrepreneurs. Because if we have 2.5 million entrepreneurs, they will take care of this 13 million young people to get into this thing, to get into the employment. So our existing system will do better off and able to come out with a better strategy, and our economy will be developed better. We can grow at a 2-digit. We since the last comment I've come, we have grown by only 1 digit. So if we have got double-digit growth, we will have a fastest growing economy in the world. So in order to get that thing in, of getting the right entrepreneurship into the, I have got certain thought processes and certain I have already developed. And what is a major outcome of the TIDE scheme? That in this 228 products have been developed by 121 startups. So an average 2 products have come out. So this means if the 2 average comes on, so our patent, which is very, very dismal as of now, if you look into America files around 7,000 patents a year, vis-a-vis India, which only files around 1,500 patents. 1,500 would be on a higher side. Let's keep it about 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500. So in order to get into that level of your innovation, because better innovation we have, better entrepreneurs we have, and that's how the whole things gets into the next level. This indicates that, and if US files about 7,000 patents, that's the reason US economy would be doing far, far better off in years to come, because once they have developed the patent, they've had a copyright over it, they will develop it, and so their workforce get employed over the period of time. If you look into the US unemployment rate, which normally comes every Thursday, it is far, far better than a year back. Vis-a-vis our employment rates under your the index, industry index we get, it is very, very dwindling, because now the government says that our manufacturing sectors is not that robust. That's the reason we are trying to come out with your robust manufacturing sector. Our policies, our single window policies under DIPP is for that particular reason only, that you come and you get hassle-free made in India products getting developed. But then how many patent sets are we? We develop the your products. These are all single window, and up typically of the total revenue, between 5 to 30% goes out from this particular revenue generation as a royalty payment. So it is just not our the developing the industry. The government says come and do manufacturing here, But then once we do manufacturing here, we do everything. It is our manpower. A chunk of them goes out to the Western world as a royalty payment. So when we talk about these tide scheme, government need to increase it to couple of couple of more years. I think it should be increased till about 2020, as they've extended this 1 year. They should extend this particular for 3 years more, so that now we will be having the more entrepreneurship, because now is the right time. The right ecosystem have been developed at every level. If you look at a QP1, QP2, QP3, these and this particular your QP have been implemented 2015 onwards, and the skill have been into system from 2013. So looking into that 4 years, I think these people who are all into this particular ecosystem, they are skilled. They should be encouraged to get into the entrepreneurship. We have got lots of schemes. We have got Startup India. We have got Stand Up India. Startup India was basically for the women and for the backward classes. If you look into the Startup India, maybe the government gives the funding of 1 crore to any consortium of the people who has got either a woman as you're part of the consortium, or a person from the backward class, or I will not say your backward class, from an underprivileged class like ST or an SC. And government give you funding till about 85%. And if the women entrepreneurship or the people from these classes are more than 50%, governments give you till about 1 crore. So that's also encourages your entrepreneurship. But that's what I was saying, that 500 crores for 7 lakh, if we have to have everybody into it, that 500 crores need to be increased to at least 10,000 crores. That's a minimum you require for any of the development for the IT. UPA government have spent around 20,000 crores for development of IT in your northeastern sector. For the development of a skill and then entrepreneurship, you're just giving 500 crores. I think that need to be increased. Government mind says that we have tied up with all those different agencies. Definitely, that's very true. But then actual figures that need to be drilled down into the people's system. And because you normally say that whatever you see, you remember. And that's a way of learning also. From hearing and seeing, if you want to learn and you see something, you learn 700% faster than you hear it. So similarly, the government scheme need to be highlighted boldly, saying that so much of the funds are available with the bank. Government the banker says that you can come out with a consortium and I will pay you out. But then what is a success story? That is things which we need to see. Then there's something called Atal Incubation Center. Each of the colleges who is listening to me, they all know about this, that the government is giving 10 crores for a 5-year time to develop Atal Incubation Center. But if you see the apathy of it, 2016 when the scheme came in, only handful of the universities or the centers have got it. Who have got it? Who has come out with a very robust plan and very robust implementation strategy. So let's take this particular example, which has been selected. That is by your NIFT and Tirupur Exporters Association. This is being given under the head manufacturing of the garments. They say, according to, if you go through their, if you lay your hand on this particular documentation, they're looking at a turnover of 204 crores at the end of the 5th year. And when you look up a turnover for 204 crores, the type of people who are getting educated, skilled, and turn into an entrepreneurship won't be not less than 3,000. It's in a lower figure. It should be on a higher figure. but they have just taken up maybe a figure of 3,000, training 3,000 people on an year-on-year basis. That's 15,000. So something like that need to be coming out of from your stable also, each of your institutions. Since the time now they have extended the time to 31st August. Each one of you have got enough time to rejig your plan. Try to do bit of your study market, bit of your understanding with your potential collaborator, and give a good plan, so that this particular incubation center is able to produce good entrepreneurs among your own students. So at least government has started something which could be looked into the things. Also, if you have already got some sort of an incubation center, government gives you 10 crores for next 2 years for taking that particular initiative to the next level. Similarly, they also give Atal Tinkering Labs to the schools. Previously, I was talking about those CSC schools not doing enough to promote vocational training at the school level. This is something which they can also take into them and encourage the students in making labs, because they talk about that this is more to do with upgrading the STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths segmentation. Vocational is all about that only. When you learn something on hand skill, that's the science you are learning. The science might be that is your pneumatic energy, or it could be any other combination. You need to put into a right words, right perspective, so that you get a right fund. And there's a possibility that some of you people would be learning a diploma course which runs from the 10th, and which is affiliated to State Technical Board. So this particular thing we should push into the government to extend these helps to the state technical boards too. Then we have got something called Startup Incubation Program by the government. This is called Self-Employment and Talent Utilization. Government have proposed 1,000 crores for this particular scheme. So, and this is started in 2015. Interestingly, if you look into that, lots of state government started their own initiative. Telangana government started something with this particular startup called T-Hub, called Telangana Hub for the incubation. We are talking about incubation per se. But my only disconnect as of now is this, that these incubations are anything and everything for the engineering graduates, or the graduates, or the people who come from a STEM background. What are the people who are not coming from non-STEM background? When I talk about STEM, I also include an MBA into it, because according to the AICTE norm, MBA is a technical subject. I take it, right? But lots of institutions who are non-technical, what about them? Don't they have talent into them? I'm definitely lots of you group as a group company, as a group institution, would be having lots of non-STEM courses. What for them? We need to think from that perspective, that incubation as a as a subject need to be taught, need to be hand-holded, and need to be taken care of as if normally when an egg is hatched into a small little chick. Tamil Nadu government has also tied up with something they call a warehouse, called a startup warehouse with NESCOM. NESCOM has also started the same thing in Kolkata, Mumbai, Pune, Kochi, Gurgaon, and in Hyderabad. But then, the Telangana hub is far successful, and it's basically taken. If you look into the Telangana hub, it was taken by it's an extension of IIIT Incubation Center, which is there in your Gachibowli. So, and there, what they normally used to do, they used to encourage the companies to come and have their center inside the campus. So that particular experiment, which is about approximately 10 years experience, has actually transformed into a Telangana hub. And that is the reason, if you look into the where Triple IT was, or where the Telangana hub is, the ecosystem around is well developed for the IT companies. Lots of IT companies come and take and pick their talent from it. So typically, each one of you need to develop that sort of a technical hub around your campuses. Or you should have in-campus incubation space where you should encourage, let go the space, give the space to all these your early startup and incubators for free. What are you there to lose? And that's going to be your contribution for the development of the ecosystem and development of the new generation. If you look, the government has also come out with National Center of Excellence under PPP model with NESCOM. So I don't know much of the benefit, but in keeping it that we are putting every stress under your self-employment and talent utilization in STEM segment. We are not doing enough into the non-STEM segment, and that is where my focus should be. Then let's talk about the incubation centers. Like, you had got private incubation space, and you had got government incubation space, and you had got PPP incubation space. Private incubation space, you have got student zone, and you have got association of biotech led enterprise. And of course, you find all these incubation space available in all the tier 1 cities. We don't have much of an incubations. This thing is available in a tier C cities. Our next, what I call for your skill 3.0, my focus should be more on tier 3 cities and start an incubation there. That's very, very important, right? Government space we just discussed. We also discussed that typically CI, the Center for Innovation, Incubation, Entrepreneurship, this has been run by IIM Ahmedabad. One of the very, very successful model for making your entrepreneurs. But if you look into this model again, I'm talking about an MBA institute, or an engineering college. It's a high time, like as a group of institutions, you should look and encourage incubation at non-STEM courses also, because STEM courses is only if you divide the whole your population into 3 major course segmentation: humanities, commerce, and sciences. So that works out to only 30%. 70% are non-STEM. So that's where we need to encourage the incubation and have an incubation space into. NSC Training and Incubation Center. This is something, again, this is one model, because as you know, NSC was into from 1955 onwards into National Small Scale Industry Corporation, floated by your Ministry of MSME. This particular, they also help you to come out with training and incubation centers. So you can be a part and parcel of their incubation center process. It's not very expensive. They only charge you about 20,000 fee and 2,000 square feet. So this is, and they give you different incubation proposals. They have got in-house incubation proposals, which could help you out. And they will also get you through with different funding agencies. Of course, there are different your startups and incubation being run by different PSUs also. I'm giving you one example of HPCL. So HPCL is again doing it for this particular incubation your process, and they require something called a proof of concept before they take you and help you as a startup. So this particular startup will help you support something on primary energy and hydrocarbon sectors. But interestingly, they also help you with commercial this thing to see to it that your particular product sees the daylight. and they are willing to support you on different different areas of hydrocarbon and primary. So it can be something to do with the new product, or the way the product need to be handled, or it can be done on the basis of how this need to be marketed, how the customer need to be handled. It can be anything and everything. So they take you, again, it's a 360 degree of a hand holding, where you work with HPCL startup environment with couple of HPCL R&D people. So in a way, this also, if the product is good enough, it goes commercial, you become part and parcel of the success story. Incubation training and skill development is a new initiative. I will like the government to look into it. That is new venture creation leadership. The NSQF does not have anything as such. We need to develop national this framework, national standard of qualification framework. We need to come out with something on the new venture creation and mentorship. We don't have it. If you look into this particular thing here, I like these people who have already been skilled, having a 5 years experience, or they have skilled and into the system for many years, and they know their ecosystem very well. These people need to be trained into this particular skill program. So, and the typical timeline should be about 3 years. I give an objective, and here this is how I've divided this, that entrepreneurship develop and supported until they're economically sustainable. Timeline 3 years. Process: all potential candidates will be expected to submit business ideas on the type of product they want to produce or they like to sell. The ideas will be evaluated by a selection panel made of industry association. So the most important thing is that industry associations. So you have to have those. It is again typically a much more hand-holding version of an Atal incubation system. But then this is much from a micro perspective. The screening process will result X candidates per annum entering the industry incubation program. The candidates who are selected to partake the incubation program will undergo training and develop business plan for over next 12 months. So first 12 months is a product and how they need to develop, and next 2 years, they should be working on fully equipped workshop, and the prototype and a quality assessment of a full production and marketing need to be developed. After 3 years, these people would be the incubation program as registered commercial business. When I talked about HPCL has not given a particular timeline, right? And since it has just started, I don't know how structured it is. But what structure I am saying is this 3-line timeline is whatever you require. And this whole process of 3-line came in with the concept of graduation. A graduate take 3 years in a country and they graduate to nothing. For me, once you this new venture creation leadership, it comes, might be for every year you come out with one QP, QP4, QP5, QP6, or QP5, QP6, QP7, QP8. So give them QP every year. Once they come out, they have got a very robust model. So this is what I wanted to say. If you have got any other question, we can always take on this particular things. Thank you so very much.